So I want to look at two examples. The first example, I want to look at the state of motion of rest. And what we're going to do in this case here, we're going to look at a car's headrest. And then we're going to look at a second example where we're going to look at the state of motion of constant velocity. And in this situation, we're going to look at why do you move forward when stopping in a car. So we're going to try to answer these questions here in terms of Newton's first law. Again, note that we are not talking about mass in any shape or form. So I'm really talking to the people who have taken physics in the past and have said, oh yeah, or have been told that Newton's first law is about mass. It is not about mass. It is about the natural states of motion. What does it mean to be at rest? What does it mean to be moving at constant velocity? Here we go. So the first case here, we're going to talk about a car's headrest. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to make some assumptions here. And what we're going to do here is that we're going to assume that a car is at rest at a stop sign. So suppose you're in, suppose you are in your car at rest at a stop sign. And so what you're doing here is that here you are, here in your car. And when I look at your car here, what you're really seeing here is that what I really mean by that is that you have your seat. You're a person in this car. Let's say you're in blue here. And then, of course, you got your steering wheel, which is right here. And you have your hands on the steering wheel. So when I look at the car, you're like this here, okay? So I'm thinking about your car, and this is you right here. And so, of course, what we see here is that right here, you're seeing a stop sign. And what you're finding here is that you look in the rear view mirror and you see a car speeding your way. So when I think about this car, you see this purple car and it's coming at you. And so when you look at this car here, what you're seeing here is that this car is going to rear end you. In other words, this car crashes into you. So the question is, what happens? Okay, so what happens after the collision? So that's the question that we really got to answer. So what we want to do here is that we want to make some important observations here. Note right here, there's no headrest. So the seat is only going up to your back and that's it. So there's nothing to protect your head. So let's make some observations. So one of the observations that we could make here is that your body is attached to the seat. What do I mean by that? Well, you got because you're an upstanding citizen, you have your seatbelt on. And because the seatbelt's attached to the car, to the seat, and then the seat's attached to the car, when the car accelerates, your body moves forward. So what this tells us here is that the car accelerates and your body is forced to move forward. But the important piece here for us here is that note, your head is not attached to the car. And therefore, does not accelerate with your body. So your body accelerates, but not your car. So according to Newton's first law, so then Newton's first law says that your head at rest will stay at rest forever. Okay, so how do I draw this picture-wise? So let's try to draw this again. So obviously I'm going to exaggerate my picture to make it as clean as possible here. So let's draw this picture here. So here's the car. What if I draw it one lower? Here's the car. And so when I look at the car, here's the car seat. Now I'm going to draw the body. So I'm going to draw a nice big head. And so when I'm looking at my car, what am I seeing here? What I'm seeing is that the car now is accelerating, right? The car is accelerating. So as it accelerates, that means that there's some velocity and there's some acceleration to the right. But, so if I look at just the car seat, so let's draw the car seat now. So we agree that the car seat now had to move. So what we're seeing here is that the body is moving with the car, but the head is not moving. So if I look at my picture here, this image and this image, what it tells me here is that Newton's first law states your head stays at rest. So when I look at this line, you could see that the head does not move. So what you're seeing here is this now. Eventually, your neck must apply a net force to your head. And in this process, look what happens to your neck. It gets stretched. The neck gets stretched. And here's where one of the main reasons why I do this. There is a misconception about whiplash. And what you find here is that people say the head snaps backwards. That's what they say. Well, guess what? It is a misconception. That is not what happens. That is not what happens. Whiplash is not about your head snapping back. So what you're seeing here is that you're seeing this here, is that to get your head to what? Catch up. Your head is behind the body now. So to get your head to catch up to your body, your neck applies a force to your head. And in this process here, your neck experiences strain called whiplash. It has nothing to do with your neck snapping backwards. And if you answer that way on the quiz or exam, I will give you 0, because there's a portion of you that says, oh yeah, your head snaps back. No, it does not. Your head does not snap back. It was always there in the same spot. Question. Why, not why, but what does a headrest do? So now if I take my picture here and I redraw it, let's look at what happens if you use a headrest. Well, for starters here, let's draw our car again. Now, look what I'm adding. I'm adding a headrest. So if I look at my body, here's my head. So then if I look at the car, I know that the car's got to look something like this. And so what happens here is that I'm going to make an image of this, is it looks like this. What happens here is that you have now been hit. Oh, by the way, I should really write this just to make sure I'm clear. Now you have a headrest, whereas the previous person didn't have a headrest. And so what you're seeing here is that the car now is now hit in the back. So what does that mean? Well, that means you're accelerating in the forward direction here. So what happens when you have the headrest? Well, there's a force pushing on your body, and there's a force pushing on your head. So I would say that there are forces on both your body and head. Previously, you didn't have that. You only had the force acting on your body. But now, as the car moves forward here, what's actually happening? Here, that's a little bit too close for me, so I'm going to move it down here. So what you're seeing in this case is that, yes, your body now, you're seeing here is that the headrest forces your head and body to move together. Without the headrest, it's only your body that's moving. So this implies here that you get no whiplash. You get no whiplash.